Know your information, know what your ratio is, know what developer you'll be using, know what type of hair dye you will be using, okay? So in today's video, I'll be showing you guys examples of different hair color types. You have semi-permanent, demi-permanent, permanent hair color, and also direct dye. Direct dyes would be also known as like a rinse. These four would be considered direct dyes. So let's dive into direct dyes. So direct dyes are also known as semi-permanent hair dye. These are hair dyes that does not require developer. It does not require you to mix it with anything else. All it requires you to do is put it on clean hair. You put these on clean hair, the color will deposit into your hair. Depending on how light your hair is, depends on how vibrant or how much color would be shown. Also, keep in mind to not use colors that would conflict with each other. A good example of colors that would conflict with each other would be red and green. Red and green are two colors that you do not want to mix with each other. If your hair is red and you want to go green, you cannot put green on top of the red to turn your hair green. It will turn brown. Another example would be yellow and purple. You don't want these two to mix together because they will turn brown. That is why when you bleach your hair and your hair is a yellow, bright, brassy yellow color, you would use a purple shampoo to tone out that yellow color. And majority of the time what it does is it removes the yellow, it neutralizes the yellow so that it is not that screaming bright color. But if your hair is yellow and you want to go purple, you want to tone the color first, okay? Or vice versa. If you're purple and you want to go yellow, you would need to remove the purple color out of your hair before you could go yellow. I'll use this one as an example because I don't actually have orange. Do I? So I don't actually have orange. So this is like a copper color, and then we have blue. You would not want to mix copper and blue because they will turn brown. Okay? If your hair is orange, you want to go blue, you will need to remove the orange before putting the blue. Just as well as any of these other colors, when you're going from one color to the next color, you want to remove the previous color, especially if it's going to be a completely different color. A lot of people use a door to do the watercolor method or to color their hair because it's easy. All you have to do is pour it in some warm water or some hot water. Dip your hair into the water and it grabs on. It catches. Most of the time on the package, it tells you how high you need to lift the hair before putting the color on, especially on like I've experienced Joico, I've had experience with Pravana's direct dye. Most direct dyes will tell you what level you need to lift it to. This one specifically says level 10, and it tells you right down here at the bottom. It tells you lighten to level 10 and up. So meaning that this color will show way better on a level 10 or now we're gonna go into the demi-permanent. These are currently the demi-permanent that I have available. So this right here, the Joico's Lumi Shine, this is a demi-permanent liquid color. These are more commonly used on areas of the hair that have been previously dyed. It is not saying that it hasn't happened or people don't do it, but I mostly use these with a volume 10 or volume 5 because I am mainly trying to deposit the color into my client's hair. So what you would do, which it shows you on the side, to 1:1. So 1:1. So the same amount of liquid color that you add into your bowl, you want to put the same amount of developer. Okay, so these are 1:1 ratio. The clear is normally used to dilute the color. For instance, if I wanted this color to not be as red, I would use this to lighten it up a little bit. Okay, another example of a demi-permanent is this one right here. This one is red copper, and this one says 1:2. So instead of doing 1:1 ratio where I put the same amount of developer as I did color, I will double the developer that I use for this specific hair dye, demi-permanent, than I would for another hair dye, such as this demi-permanent that says 1:1. Okay, so it's always important to look at the side label when purchasing your hair dye, because you don't want to purchase this hair dye right here and only get a container of developer that's like this size, because it may not be enough. Yes, inside of this container it says that it has 2 fluid ounces. It's 1:1. If you use this whole container, you're gonna need 2 fluid ounces of developer, which is why it is important to see what's on the side of the container. Because I know when going to Sally's sell the little 1 ounce or 2 ounce developer that is with the Ion brand. They sell the little small developer, but if the item that you pick up is a 1:2, such as this hair dye, you're gonna want to get the bigger one just in case. So these are examples of permanent hair dye that I have in my little collection here, and each one of these, let me see, sometimes you really have to like really have to look. Being that I don't have the box to this one, I'm really not certain if it's 1:1 or 1:2. But anyhow, this one, it says it on the back, 1:1. Even on the front right there, it says 1:1. So this would be a 1:1 ratio on using this permanent hair dye. So with permanent hair dye is great for when you're lifting your hair and depositing your hair. And it lasts longer than semi and demi-permanent. So but yeah, so they all each have their own specific directions. This one is a 1:2. This one is 1:1. This one, pay attention to the swatch that it has on the outside of where you're purchasing. But also keep in mind that those swatches are done on clear hair, so it might not come out true to color. Okay, let me just put that one tip in there. The second tip that I have, you want to be able to know, am I going to use 20? Will I use 30? Will I use 40? Do I need to use 5? These are things that you need to know. You need to thoroughly investigate, thoroughly jot down, get all the information you need before coloring your hair at home. Get all of the information that you need. So here's a great example of how to use permanent hair dye, how to use demi or semi hair dye. Okay, so here's a great tip that I'm going to offer you guys right here in this moment. Okay, so firstly, my permanent hair dye I'm using on my roots, okay, because my hair has been colored before, my hair has previously been colored before, and I know the color that I'm going to, which is a 7, my natural hair is a 4, so I need to go up 3 levels. So I will be needing to use 30 volume with this permanent hair dye to lift my hair to this color, okay? That is the first step, all right? So this one is going to be used with 30 volume. On my hair that has already went through the process of lifting 3 levels to become a level 7, I will be using a demi-permanent dye on my ends with 5 or 10 volume developer to protect my hair, being that I've already processed my hair before when I lifted it the first time. Okay, so to save my hair, and what I do on my clients' hair is I use the permanent hair dye on their new growth, only on their new growth. And then I go in with the semi or demi-permanent on their ends using 5 or 10 volume. It's not as harsh as putting 30 volume on top of hair that was already lifted 3 levels. Another tip is, once you use these colors, once you use these hair dyes in your hair, okay, I'm going to level 7. I'm going up 3, correct? But if I decided, okay, I wake up today, I want to be a level 8. I cannot go and buy level 8 hair color. I can't go and buy the level 8 and put that on top of what I have. It is not going to lift my hair. Color will not lift color, okay? So if I wanted to get my hair to a level 8, I would need to remove the color that I already previously put in my hair and lighten my hair with bleach. Lighten my hair with bleach to that extra level, or to that level that I'm trying to reach. Because I know that if I put a level 8 on top of my level 7 already color treated hair, it's not going to go any higher. It's not going to move. It's not going to budge. Okay? So I just want you guys to know that and understand that as well. So that is why I say it is important to get all of the information you need, all of the tools that you need, and apply it when you do go out to purchase your hair color, okay? Know what color you're starting with. Know what color your hair naturally grows. Know and remember if you've previously put color on your hair. There's a lot of people that like to go blonde, or like to go copper, or like to go to a light color, and then they decide, okay, I don't want this anymore. I'm tired of this. It don't fit my face. It doesn't, whatever the reason may be, and then they go brown or they go black, right? Now, if that person that was already light and then went dark and they want to go light again, they cannot go and use 20 or 30 volume to lift their hair, or to lift that color out of their hair. That color needs to be removed before adding any other color into your hair. Okay? So remember, know whether it's a 1-to-1 ratio or a 1-to-2 ratio. Know whether or not it is a permanent hair dye, demi-permanent hair dye, or semi-permanent hair dye. Okay? Know that if you get semi-permanent, not semi, because semi does not require a developer. But if you are using a demi-permanent hair dye, know that you will need a 5 or 10 volume. Okay? You can use a 20 if your hair is gray or you have gray in your hair, because gray hair is more resistant. But if you are like my age or like me, I don't have any gray hairs yet, I would use 5 or 10 volume when using a demi-permanent hair dye. When I am using a permanent hair dye, I would be either using a 20 volume, 30 volume, or even sometimes a 40 volume. And that's mainly because I'm using the permanent hair dye to lift my hair. When you are lifting your hair, you'll use one of these 3. It'll be 10, 20, 30, or 40 volume. Okay? If you're going, depending on if you're going lighter or you're going darker. When you're going darker, you don't want to use over 20 volume. Only use 20 volume if you have gray hair. Do not use 20 volume to deposit color into your hair, because when you use a 20 volume, you're opening your cuticle wider than it needs to soak in that hair color. Okay, so I'm gonna leave you guys with this. Okay, so, which I probably already said that. Know which developer that you will be using. Also, know how much developer you need to use based off of your 1-to-1 or 1-to-2 ratio. Okay, most tube dyes come as a 2-ounce tube. All right, majority of the time a 2-ounce tube will do hair up to here, up to your shoulders. If your hair is longer than your shoulders, get 2. Please don't only buy 1 tube of color. Okay, get 2 just in case. Majority of the time, especially if you're going to Sally's, it's not going to cost more than $7 for 1 tube of color. Buy 2, okay? And I would get the big size, especially if you're going to Sally's. I would get the big size because the big size of developer is normally like $6 versus spending $4 for the little 2-ounce one. So those are the thing. Know your information, know what your ratio is, know what developer you'll be using, know what type of hair dye you will be using. Okay, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope I was able to give you guys a little more information on what to do and how to do when you're coloring your hair at home. It's very important to know what type of hair dye you are using. It's important to know what type of developer you are using, because all of those things can affect the integrity of your hair. Okay, so be mindful of what number developer and what type of hair dye you're using. All right, so I hope you guys enjoy. I want to try my best to be as informative as I can be to you guys. I don't get paid to do this. I'm not sponsored. I am not monetized. I do this because I like to teach. I like to be able to give people more information on how to do things, especially because I was that person once upon a time, and I'll link a video up here as well of when I dyed my hair. I did my own hair dye and it was trash. It just was trash. And this was before I went to school for cosmetology, before I even knew anything about hair color, hair developer, what to do, how to do it, any of that. I was just trying some stuff. So I'm gonna keep rambling on and keep talking, so I'm just go ahead and end this here. I hope you guys like it. I hope you guys enjoy it. Please hit the notification bell so that you will know next time I post a new informative video.